Diamonds like that.
Exactly. So, and it like there can't be much more pressure. I'm having 2 little kids at home, and if I basically fail, then what am I going to do? I know you can go and get a new job, but it's not easy to do that during a pandemic.
Not that, no.
So it was kind of like it's now or never.
Cool. Yeah, I think like people like Sean and stuff just don't really get their deserve, you know, because there's just no media around here, is there? They got like nowhere to go.
No, that's true. Yeah, for that particular thing, yeah. And it's that's true. That is because you like look at them. I looked at like some of the people who I hadn't heard of Sean, but that was like my favourite one probably to watch. But just because it was so different, and
he's a
character
character as well, isn't he? Yeah.
And it reminded like he obviously with my background being to do with stuff involved with like the police and that, I like the whole rehabilitation thing that he went around.
Yeah,
and when he did that, that was cool. But like you like Facebook, him looked at social media. He's not got like a massive following, but you'd think that like the character he was, it would just be like a lot bigger. I know
because every interview he's done, which like he's probably done a ton with a bare knuckle, but it's kind of never got out of that area. Everyone he's done is like shit off. Like he's always banging like cracking lines out and stuff. Like the things you saying in here, like
I thought it was funny. I did. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I feel like he should be a lot bigger than he is. Like,
right, ready then.
Yeah. So, yeah, how's it going, mate? Really, pretty much. Like, just glad to have you in, and
thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been good, mate. It's been a bit of a whirlwind during the pandemic. Just finally managed to kind of get something that I've been working on for the last 2 years to be my full-time job. So, yeah, it's been good. Previously to that, I got a young family, so I got 2 little kids, a boy and a girl.
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you. So 4.5 and just gone 1. So I've kind of, until very recently, been doing the whole steady family thing, making sure everything was in place, building a stability kind of thing. And then, we kind of come up with an opportunity where I thought maybe I could have something for myself and kind of just go for it. And that's what we did. So before I kind of went down the whole Beer Box thing, just to let everyone know that's the name of the company, the Beer Box Company, I was working in a job alongside South Wales Police. So it was basically like this charity organisation. You got paid for it, but it was... you worked alongside the police. I'm not going to mention their names, but it was rehabilitating kind of like victims of crime. Yeah. So you couldn't have any more different things. I've gone from basically being involved with selling cocktails to finding out about the kind of story which went on with like murder witnesses. You'd have all sorts of serious crime. People sometimes really affected and kind of like looking for no way out, and you kind of had to help them go from A to B. And A to B could quite literally be somebody leaving their house, which they hadn't been able to do for weeks, couldn't even go and get their own food. Things like that, and the stories that you'd hear were just ridiculous.
I bet, yeah. So like people who were involved with maybe like crime families and stuff, is it?
Yeah, all sorts. And it was like literally we had obviously GDPR and all that. Can't mention any names, but you literally had people who had witnessed a murder. And then you kind of see how that's impacted their life, because obviously they're not directly involved. They may not even have been associated with that person, but it affects them so drastically, as you can imagine.
It's like that ripple effect, isn't it? It doesn't, you can be any one of them ripples and it's going to affect
exactly.
you.
And like sometimes these people who've experienced these kind of detrimental things, if you like, have maybe got themselves out of a bad place previously through their own personal experiences, but then someone like this just chucks them straight back into it. So it was definitely an experience. So I was doing that job for about 1.5 years. Before that, kind of been like went to university, did that whole thing, but never really knew what I wanted to do. And I'd say until right now, I finally found something that I actually want to do, and I've kind of broke that mold of you should do this and you should do that, and I kind of just went, no, I'm going to do this, and that's what I did. But it basically what we were, to just give a bit of an overview, we were a wedding and events company. So it's not just come out of the blue during COVID. We were building a business. And then this year was going to be the year I was going to get to like the end of the wedding season after we'd done all the wedding bookings we'd had. And I was just going to go for it. But then obviously COVID happened. And that just put a stop to it. And
Oh yeah, with the weddings this year, it's just out.
Yeah, and it's such a shame. Like some of the weddings we were doing, I'm actually friends with the couples, and it's just thrown an absolute spanner in the works. And I know from a business point of view and from their personal points of view, I know that, and they understand. There's obviously more important things going on in the world right now, but it's still hard. It takes away that special little thing that they're trying to do. So.
Yeah, when it's like our wedding was cancelled this year.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, I kind of know what it feels like. Yeah. It is weird. Yeah, you kind of, when you're in your own bubble and stuff. I don't know, especially around where we live, you don't really see the impacts of COVID as much. Yeah. So you kind of like, so easy to get in the mindset of like, oh fuck, like,
and you are right about that. You are right about that, because in like I think people maybe who live within the cities, they would notice it a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's like so in your face, because obviously cities usually bump into so many people around, and then it's just that kind of.
Yeah, whereas around here, like especially like in Powys and like where you live and everything, it's just so rare, isn't it? Like I think I don't even know how many people I know have had it. Like not many, and whoever hasn't been that affected.
Exactly. So yeah, we were going ahead anyway. I had a plan, but it was all going to be done like sensibly.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like I said, I got a family. I got a wife who is like a part-time student as well. So I was kind of like the main source of income for our family. And we were just like plodding along quite nicely, but that like wasn't enough for me because it didn't fulfill me. So the kind of story of obviously the weddings got put off. So it was basically, I was sat in our bedroom because I didn't really have an office space, and the kids were in the house because when like lockdown shut everything down, my wife was she was still on maternity leave. So that's how young my little boy was at the time when it all come about. And basically we just got to the point where I was working upstairs and it was getting so hard because of the type of work we were doing, and I'm trying to support people with like their mental health problems, but it was kind of like just wearing me down.
You need to be right in the zone flat,
like,
don't you? You can't have like
hard.
distractions.
Yeah, exactly. And like it was just starting to get really difficult. So I was just thinking and having conversations with my wife Abby. I was like, I just really want to try and do something. I want to come up with something so I can just still go for it, and this can be our year where we can kind of maybe just give it a go. But she wasn't having any of it, and neither was any of my family or her parents at first. Her dad, to be fair, he's really like positive. He's this kind of like ideas man, where he'll like throw 1,000 ideas out there, and then it's kind of like my job to take the few which I think could possibly work. So he's always enthusiastic about things which are working, which was my kind of like little light out of everyone, if you like.
Grab hold of what he was giving you.
But the actual thing, which made me just go for it, and don't ask me why I did this, because I listen to podcasts, but I like Joe Rogan and like the big ones. I don't really look into them that much. But I was looking for any excuse, and I just wanted to do it. My wife was like, no. Well, what she said is save 10 grand. I don't know where I was going to get 10 grand from, right? I literally had no idea. But she was like, once you eventually save 10 grand, in my head, I was like, maybe I could do that from the weddings or whatever. Then we can go for it. And then I was like, yeah, okay. But then in my head, I was like, I don't know how to do it. I haven't got the time to do it. It's
a lot of money.
Trying to father, trying to work at the same time. So I was like, I just don't know how I'm going to do it. Basically, just decided to watch a video of why you should quit your job on YouTube. Just typed it in. It was like I was looking for any excuse to make the jump and just to try and go for it. So typed in why you should quit your job. And Joe Rogan podcast. This you probably have seen. I can't remember his name. Some kind of professor. And he was basically going on about that, like people who are unsatisfied with their life or with their jobs. It wasn't my life. I have a nice life, but it was more my job. And I wanted to, if I was going to put that much time into something, I wanted to feel like I was achieving.
Yeah.
And even though I was helping other people, and I'm really grateful I had that opportunity to kind of help rehabilitate victims of crime, and genuinely I've met some like friends from it who I've helped, which is nice. But to me, I just wanted my own thing. So I watched this video. And this bloke was like, yeah, if you're unsatisfied with your job, then you're essentially like a cog on a wheel.
Yeah.
And then in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm just a cog on a wheel. So I was like kind of repeating what he was saying. Adrenaline, I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I had adrenaline just flying through my body because I knew kind of what I was about to do. So even though it had been like kind of vetoed, and like my wife, who I obviously value her opinion, we've got children together, it'd be disrespectful if I didn't, then I wanted to still go for it. So I basically watched the video, it got right in my head, put the laptop down, kind of just thought to myself, I was like, I really want to do this, picked the laptop back up and just handed my notice in there and then.
Impulsively.
So, and I make so many impulsive decisions, sometimes very bad. This one, long term, thankfully, it's worked so far. But yeah, I literally picked up a laptop and I said something along the lines of, it was something along the lines of basically, I'm going to be leaving my position. And I was aware as well that you had to do like a month's notice, but I basically just said, I was respectful. I made sure I did everything properly, but I just basically said, I'll be leaving on Friday. And I don't care about a reference because I don't plan on working for anyone else again.
I've got to go
and
now.
I literally was that because I'd started to build up interest for the kind of transition that we were doing with the drinks packages and the cocktail boxes and things like that. So it was like then or never. So I just did it. And then I remember telling my wife and she was just looking at me like, what have you done? Because it was all done very quickly. Like HR were just instantly involved and it was just like handed over.
Too late to go back.
Yeah, they accepted it and they agreed to me go in. So that was good, which I'm grateful for, obviously. But yeah, we just got the ball rolling in. And basically from then on in, I've been doing 400 to 500 miles a weekend. Just driving, delivering all over South Wales.
Yeah, I think it's like, really commendable just to be able to do that. I know like it's hard, isn't it, when you've got a family and stuff like like we've got a house and all, do you know what I mean? And you just get in that mindset of I can't do anything but what I'm doing because I'm throwing my life away or like I'm going to upset someone.
Yeah.
A fucking mess, yeah. Leave that till after.
That's you are 100% right about that, and it's daunting because I think I've seen you say something to someone before, or someone on your other podcasts have said it. It's like you start thinking that I should be doing this because this is what people do.
Fit the mould, like.
Yeah, fit the mould. And I think it's until you kind of jump out of that, and by no means am I claiming to be a successful businessman or anything like that. I'm right at the beginning. I'm very aware of that. And I'm also aware that we're in a pandemic and this is uncertain times and it could not last, or it could last. I know we've still got the weddings eventually that will come. But I think what we've become now as a kind of business is more of like a service where, like that's why I've been able to make it my full-time job because we're offering X, Y, and Z. Sorry,
that's right.
Offering X, Y, and Z. So yeah, that's the kind of how it all come around.
It's just taking that leap though. It's so hard to do, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
I bet once things started to pick up, I bet that feeling was amazing.
Yeah, it was. It's been hard. Like It's been so intense. Like we've pretty much done between 700 or 800 boxes now, and there are no postal deliveries yet. We've just started doing that, but every single one of them boxes have been hand delivered.
Really? Wow,
yeah. So
mad.
Other than a couple of times where my wife or my father-in-law's kind of helped out and just done the odd delivery, I've pretty much delivered, I'd say possibly 700 boxes safely to people's doorsteps.
So you like yodel, but you got to make them as well.
Yeah. That's the thing though. It's like I seen this funny TikTok, and it's like this self-employed girl, and she basically was like introducing her team, and it was like the marketing team. It was a picture of her. It was like do you know what I mean? It was everything was her, and it's true. I'm lucky. I get a lot of help like with the production side of it for my wife and stuff.
She committed to you doing it now? Is she like on board?
Yeah, no, she's I think it was that kind of she understood quite quickly that we were it was building quite fast. And for me, the kind of proud moment for me was that out of the lockdowns, I know people are still cautious to go out, but we were still able to continuously sell. Yeah. I was constantly getting regular custom. I've built up some like lovely relationships with the customers because that's important to me, the whole local, like I know it's funny and people go on about it all the time, but local business is important, especially in times like this. And the fact that we adapted our business and got so much support within the local areas. I say local areas, it's literally from like Crickall to Swansea, like it's literally been throughout. So yeah, that was good. And it helped massively as well for like confidence, because you're always second guessing yourself. So even like pricing our products and things like that, it's cocktail boxes, by the way. I don't know if I've given like an overview really, but we basically do like DIY little cocktail kits. We weren't the first in the UK to do it at all, but as far as I'm aware, we were the first in South Wales to do it. We kind of put our own spin on it. But basically, it was difficult sorting out how I was going to price it. It was completely unknown, and basically I just decided to chuck myself head first, see what happens. But we had when I was pricing it, because I didn't have a website or anything at the time, it just happened too fast. So people were messaging me when we kind of launched a little post about it, and there was a gentleman, I can't remember his name now, well, I wouldn't say it anyway, but he basically asked how much the boxes were.
Yeah.
I said what the price was, blah, 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 and he just put loads of laughing emojis, and I never heard from him again. So,
really?
Yeah, but like, I kind of sat back, and when you're starting something, that like has a big hit on you, because you're like,
impact, and
you're overthinking, oh, should I have maybe done it wrong? But like, the way we've priced it, it basically works out you're getting a cocktail for like £5.70, £5.80, which is cheap.
Yeah.
And you get it in the comfort of your own home. We provide everything with it.
Delivered as well.
And to that gentleman, all I would say is we've sold 700 since.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this, you should have bought one. No, but no, it's worked well, and I've gone from essentially being in court staring at a murderer to selling cocktails. So it's the difference is mad, but.
Mate, I think it's great. Like, just following your passion is like huge. I think if someone's like really unhappy, you really got to get up and do something about it, which you've done.
Yeah.
And some people, like, I feel like they don't feel they can. There's not a way out. Like, do you know what I mean? You can get stuck in that rut, can't
that's
you?
bang on that is,
Imagine you were there another 10 years. Like, how hard is it then, isn't it? And I think when you're younger as well, like, I don't know, you seem to have that drive there, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's easier to start when you're younger. 100%. Like,
and that's what I'd say. I'd say that to anyone who was looking to, and like I said, I'm no business guru or anything like that. We're doing well right now, but it is just right now, and I'm aware of that. But that's what I'd say to anyone young who doesn't know what to do. Just try selling anything. Just try selling something. As long as you follow the correct legislation, etc. Just go for it. Give it a go and see what happens. Because I think that's the problem, is that there are so many young people who just have absolutely no clue what they want to do.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're basically living their life through the eyes of other people. And I think that's sad.
Oh, mate, yeah, I'm with you.
It's really sad. And I think that a big problem as well is, and it's to do with parents as well. I think you get your education from school, but I think parents as well need to be a bit more understanding that the world is different and that there are so many ways you can actually generate an income and a career. Yeah. And it isn't just about going to be a teacher, which I tried. It isn't just going on to be a doctor or a lawyer or a profession. You can do anything, really, and make money from it.
When I was in school, it was like, you're either going to go to college and get a trade, or you're going to stay on and you're going to go to uni.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like, neither of them really fit who I was. No. Do you know what I mean? It just didn't suit.
No, well, we went to the same school, didn't we? Yeah. So you got the area that we went to school, it's from, you could say it's a nice area. We're lucky in that respect. But unless you were highly educated, there wasn't really kind of any guidance of where we should go.
Mate, like careers, advisors and all that. I personally didn't have any experience, which I thought like, they don't care what you want. Yeah. Like really, innit? Yeah. They're not really interested in you and what's going to suit you. Like you said, the guidance, it's not quite there.
You're a stat. You're basically a number.
Yeah.
You're a statistic, and they just want you to make sure you get your between an A and a C or whatever, or at least get your C's in the key subjects.
Yeah.
And then move on from there. But there isn't then when you're just lost. And I think it's a shame because, for example, I did the whole university thing. I got my degree. I know you learn key skills from it. You learn how to communicate. People say I don't necessarily agree with it because you can communicate from just sitting as we are.
Damn it, yeah.
But people have, positive experiences about university. But you listen to a lot of people. It's about the social life. It's all about the socialising.
Oh, they're going there for freshers week, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Which is great and it is fun. But you could go and work, or you could go and do like an apprenticeship or start your own business and then still go and have like a city life and still go and like visit your friends now and again. But you get pushed into this pot where 18 to 20 grand you're forced to pay.
Yeah, you don't know that. I don't think you know that going in.
No one understands it because you're not really educated about it. You get given all these forms and then it's basically like, here you go, here's your degree. Sometimes your lecturers turn up, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're sat there thinking, what am I doing? I'll be completely honest, I hardly went. I just got it up on the internet and did it like that kind of way.
Yeah.
But it's a shame it is how there are so many people, and I think even now, people in their 30s and 40s, 50s, probably even 60s, 70s, who have probably looked back and thought, oh, maybe I should have just tried that. And I think it's the fact that even if I fail, I've tried to do something that I've wanted to do, even though maybe people didn't think I should.
Yeah, well, mate, like, I'm not being... I don't think it's going to fail by any means. But if it did in a couple of years, yeah, like you said, you can look back and you can be if I didn't try, even if you go back to your old job, you can be like, well, that feeling would have always been there if you didn't do it, wouldn't it? No, but I don't think you're going to I think you're going to take it and roll with it.
But it gives you time. So when you go for it, you're thinking when you're maybe dipping in and out of it, you're thinking, like, how am I going to make this work? Because we're only earning this amount of money from doing it part-time or whatever. But that's because you're doing it part-time.
Yeah.
If you throw yourself in, you've got to sink or swim. You've got no option. I think a lot of people, and I do find this with people who don't know what they want to do, a lot of people actually work better when they have no choice but to go and go and
definitely.
work and
Pressure
go and
makes
do
diamonds, like, doesn't
exactly.
it?
So, and it, like, there can't be much more pressure than having 2 little kids at home. And if I basically fail, then what am I going to do? I know you can go and get a new job, but it's not easy to do that during a pandemic.
Not now, no.
So it was kind of like it's now or never. And luckily, it's working. We're doing well. We've got a couple of future plans lined up as well. We just started doing national delivery as well, so that'll take a bit of the pressure off. I still going to be doing the whole local deliveries because it's just part of it. It's like part of what we do. It's more personal. You
see the face.
Yeah. And it sounds stupid, but some of these people, when I'm delivering to them, I'm the only person they've seen in weeks.
Ah, mate, yeah, social contact's gone.
And I was able to continue delivering when we were in lockdown because it was, I know it's sort of silly, the cocktails, but it was classed as like a necessity as such, or I don't think I was classed, essential. I don't think I was classed as a key worker as such. And I wouldn't want to take anything away from the actual key workers who have been keeping this country going. I've been keeping them hydrated, I guess. But but yeah, it's nothing like that. But it was a conversation that I would then go and have with them. And maybe in some of our quieter weeks, I could, from a distance, obviously behind their garden gate or whatever, just have like a proper chat with them.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Like,
and you could see people wanted to talk. You could see that they were on their own and that it was... So,
oh, mate, it's affecting people massively, like, in this country now, isn't it? Like, I go out with my job and do site visits and stuff, and like never before, people kind of wanted rid of you because their schedule's so full of like maybe interactions and stuff. Whereas now people like will stand and talk for 20 minutes or half an hour. Do you know what I mean? Because they're lacking it, aren't they? And I feel like we're social beings, aren't we? And we need to... Yeah,
exactly. And in a weird way, like with the whole understanding the kind of social impact of it, my last job when I was... Because honestly, some of the stories you hear, it was just ridiculous. You'd have, for example, one of the incidents with because there was a couple of different kind of murder cases, but the one murder witness, I went to his house in the afternoon, and in the morning, one of the friends of the murderer had put a brick through his window. So only 2 hours later, I turned up and I was in his house with him, and you could literally see the whole... Yeah. And he's on edge, and he's white as a ghost because he's like intimidated as you would be. And I'm sat there in his house, and I'm thinking like, I'm not ready for this either because your training is limited, to be honest. So I'm sat there and I'm thinking like, I'm on edge, but I don't want him to be on more edge. So I'm thinking of him, but I'm also thinking, like, please don't have another brick come through this window because I'm in line with a hole. So if they go for the same hole, I'm gone. Yeah. And all I had was a panic alarm, and that's not going to do much. So
how much did that job like play with your anxiety? Was it?
You have to switch off. So the only time I found it really difficult to switch off was when children were involved. We did limited things with them, but you still come across certain stuff. Being a dad myself, it got in your head, and you see things that I'm telling you, like, you won't ever see unless you're in that line of work, and you're exposed to things that you wouldn't be exposed to unless you're in that line of work, and nothing can prepare you. We're not like frontline police officers or anything like that, but we're frontline for the victims, and we're sometimes the only form of support for them. Yeah. So when you were there and you were in that environment, it was sometimes really hard because I remember being in the room with the one boy, and like I said, with the window, and he was sat there completely on edge, and then I was sat there and I kind of positioned myself so that I could see the door because I was thinking like, if someone comes in now, at least I'll try and get the first hit in, and then if I'm gone, at least I've done something. But you shouldn't be thinking like that in work.
Yeah, that's not like...
Especially when I'm not like, I'm not armed, I haven't got any equipment or anything like that. But it is, some of it, I think, and I sometimes I'm not sure if it was because I was one of the only male support workers there. So sometimes I would get put onto jobs which were kind of a bit more... It was like mainly with like the males to kind of make them
risky,
feel
possibly,
to make them feel a bit more comfortable. It was nothing to do with like they were great, the women. I learned so much from them. It was nothing to do with gender or anything like that. It was just solely to do with the fact that sometimes we would have difficult things, and for some reason I just got pushed into that position. It made you learn quick, and some of the experiences were, like I said, just ridiculous. And it's funny as well how people's minds work differently. So you could literally have someone who had their garden gate kicked off from antisocial behaviour. You'd have to go and have a little chat with them, see how they were, and it would be horrific. Like they literally were crumbling apart, which is, everyone's different. And then you could go and have someone who's been like a victim of like attempted murder or domestic violence and things like that, and it's as if nothing's happened. And it's just funny how people's characters are so different, and how much time they would want you to invest for antisocial behaviour or for a dog bite. We had dog bites and things like that. To someone who had literally, been beaten up by their husband or wife for 20 years. Yeah.
Some people take it like the antisocial behaviour and stuff. I think they take it personally, like, don't they? Like it's an attack at them, and they may take that like you said, exactly the same way as someone who's had the head beaten in or whatever. And it's it's mad, mate. You must have like good empathy to deal with.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It is. It's just you never know how someone's going to react. So it was like I was with someone before in a meeting, and we went to a cafe just to have a cup of coffee, and halfway through the anxiety was so bad for them that they just did a runner. Yeah. So I went to go and get the coffee, turned around, they were gone.
Just getting overwhelmed.
And then you put your head out the door, and you can literally see them running, and it's nothing you can do really. You just got to let them do what they've got to do, and then kind of contact them a few days later and just say like, I hope everything's okay. Yeah. But
I bet some of these people, like, especially if it's like their family members and whatever. Yeah. Expect like in their circles they're kind of branded the same as maybe the person who's done it, isn't it? Or whatever, I don't know, murder's family or whatever. They all kind of get tarred with the same brush, don't they?
It's true. Trying
to like get themselves out of that, it's quite difficult.
No, it is. It's just a different world. Yeah. It's a different world, and like obviously it's a bigger different world for me now. The fact that I've moved on to doing this, and adapted, and so you've gone literally from one. It was quite as quick as 1 week. I was looking at court dates and when COVID had stopped, when were we going to end up back in Swansea Crown Court or Cardiff Crown Court to go through this whole kind of trial with the victim and support them through that. And then the next week you're taking orders for porn star martinis. So it's literally been as quick as that. So it's been mad. It's
great though, isn't it? Like I'm just so glad you're doing it. You need more people who are willing to like follow their dreams, innit? I'm sat here saying that. Like I'd love to follow mine. Do you know what I mean? That's the long-term plan.
But you've started, haven't you? So you've got the ball rolling.
Yeah, it's all about starting, isn't it?
And that's the thing, is that a lot of people, you'll probably come across these people all your life, is that everyone knows how to do everything. Yeah. So everyone will always say, I would have done it this way, or, you could do this, you could do that. Well, do it then.
They're not doing it.
So I appreciate everyone's opinion, but if you're going to be that kind of person who says, I could have done this and I could have done that, well, go and do it.
I think so as well.
Do you know what I mean? Just go and do it, because if you fail, at least you've tried. Yeah. And I can't tell you how many things I've failed at. I could still fail at this. I'm quite negative in that respect, which is weird because I'm in a positive
hungry
decision.
though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because otherwise you can get complacent. So I think I failed at so many things. I failed with football when I was younger. I was in America, just wasn't good enough. So that got cut, and then fell out of love with football for about 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Now I enjoy playing again because life's too short. Do what you enjoy. If you're not the best at it, it doesn't matter. You can still enjoy it. So that was kind of my first dream, if you like, just completely gone. And then you come across different passions all the time, but never, and I've done so much bar work and, to be honest, hated it. So the fact that I'm now doing something similar is mad, really, but it's because it's your own thing and it's something that you've created and it's something that you've built. So
I think doing something for yourself is just like a bonus, and you run your own schedule, don't you? And like I feel like when you're doing it for yourself, you don't have that, like, it's a weird thing, innit, when you're working for someone, you're like, oh, I got to do it for them. Yeah. Got to do it for them. Yeah. And like if their opinion's slightly different to yours, you kind of, don't know, it can piss you off, can't it?
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think you have, like, you can tell by the people you've had, like the more kind of business conversations that you've had with people, they're all kind of people who have understood that there may be some scrutiny. People are always going to have their opinions, but you do get to that age. I think Jack said it when I watched the one with Jack. I think you do get to that age and you just don't care what anyone thinks anymore. Oh, so you just go 100%. For it. You care about the people who care about you, but you if you constantly worry about what other people think, then you're just not going to move, because people are there to judge you. So
I literally, I've had this idea for years, like a couple of years, and in my head I was like, all right, I'm going to do it soon. And then like I was just like, my biggest thing which was stopping me was like, what's he going to think about that? Or like, what are they going to think about?
You do pinpoint individuals.
Yeah, there's people who you're worried like you're going to see and they're going to take the piss out of you. Yeah. But fucking hell, why do I care about what they think?
No. Well, really, not that we would, because you can't be that kind of character to actually, because you're going to appreciate other people's creativity because you've tried something creative. Yeah. But really, the people who should be mocked, if you like, are those who just sit there, do nothing, and just judge people. Judge people. They just nitpick. Okay, lovely. What are you doing today? Yeah, didn't think so, not much. Move on with your life because you're not bringing anything to my table. Yeah. So I'm just going to put my foot through your table and we just move on. It's silly. It's like, and you get it, but there's the majority of it. So I cannot tell you the amount of people who have called me stupid in my whole life. Yeah. But I've honestly never been called stupid by someone who wasn't stupid themselves.
I know.
So, but stupid people like to call other people stupid because it makes them feel less stupid.
Looking in them, they're like, it's a weird thing and it's a mirror thing.
Yeah.
They're like looking at something you're doing and are jealous because they haven't got the bottle to do it themselves.
100%.
So they want to give you shit about it because they want to bring you back down. Like, get down. Like you shouldn't be doing this.
No, that's spot on. That is, and you get it with so many people, and it's a shame because what people should be doing, and it's the same what I said with education, is that they should be championing the fact that people are trying to think outside the box and you're trying to do this and you're trying to do like that. You can make money from blogging, you can make money from Instagram, YouTube videos, podcasts. You can make money from anything, but people are so reluctant. There's probably so many talented people who have just sat there and thought, no, I can't because what are my mates going to think? Or what's my dad going to think? What's my mum going to think?
And usually it's the people closest to you. I think it's out of worry. I don't think it's out of like any spite or anything. No. But they can see, what if it fails? I don't want to be upset.
And then you start thinking, what if I fail?
They've placed that doubt in your mind then, haven't they? Whereas like, I know it's easy to say just 100% go in on everything. But when someone comes to me with an idea now, I try to just go like, if I was them, I'd want to hear like, you can do this because chances are they can do it. I'm not going to tell anyone they can't do anything because I don't know them. I don't know what they've got deep inside of them. I don't know. They can fucking do it. Like as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly. It's just funny. It is how it all works. And I think like even coming here today and doing this, like I was a bit nervous. I was like, I don't want to come across like this. I don't want to come across like that. But really, it's like now I don't care. Yeah. Because we're here, we're having a chat.
Yeah, it's you're doing it, isn't it?
It's just like you're talking with your mate and you're just having a little conversation about catching up and you're recording it and you're putting it out there for people to see. Yeah. And hopefully there'll be a few little people who will see this and think, maybe I should try and do something like this or maybe I should make this and try and sell it because I think it's such... Like selling anything, I just love watching people. I love the Dragon's Den. I love watching The Apprentice. Since I've started this job, I've been watching Shark Tank, which is like Australia's equivalent.
I've seen that a few times.
And the ideas people come up with, and it's just like, wow, like how have you even thought that you can? Yeah. Number one, there's a use for it in the world. Number two, how are you making money from that? And like you see their figures and the rapid growth that these businesses have had. And you can't help but commend them. And there's no, like, obviously I don't know these people, but there's not an ounce of jealousy ever from me. There's always, like, just admiration. So, like, the fact you're doing podcasts, I think it's absolutely great. The fact that you've had, like, personal trainers on here, you're James as well, who I know. 3 of them have been customers, actually. You've had James on here as well. So you've had so many people who have kind of gone into their own thing, probably had their own anxieties about whether they should or shouldn't do it. And they've just gone bang,
the leap
straight, and everyone's doing well. So everyone you've had to come on here and speak has been achieving. They've all been doing their own thing and surviving, which is all we all want to do when we first do it. Is just survive, see how it goes. So
they've all been in the position of, I don't know if I can do that as well, isn't it? And they all say the same thing, like they're worried about what people think. Yeah, you just got to get out of your own way.
Yeah, no, it's bang on. Absolutely.
I don't know about you, but like I did a video saying like who the guest is for this week and stuff, and I hate it. Like this is easy for me. Like now I'm used to it. This is easy. Like we're talking in front of the camera, but we're having a conversation. There's a bit of like, I'm getting feedback from you, and But then when I don't know how you feel, but when I do like a video on my own, I'm like
30 takes.
Oh mate, I'm like fucking hell. I look a bit of a dick there. Like, do you know what I mean? But and you just even with that, it should just be like one and done. Fuck it. Yeah. Like doesn't matter.
You get in your own head, and there's you get like so used to being self-critical to the point where it's like so intense that you're preventing yourself from progressing. Yeah. So like that's so true, and it's a great example of that because we've done little videos before. We've done like cocktail demonstrations and things like that. I went up to Tenby and there was like a few Instagram famous people, if you like. So there was like a girl on Love Island, a couple of like models and things like that. And I had to go up there and do like a cocktail class. And I just was so like, I felt before I did it, the thought of it, I was like, I just can't do this. I'm so out of my comfort zone. It was so intimate. We were in this like country house in Tenby. There was like 5 or 6 people. And I was just like, I can't do this. I got to go and like discuss about what we've made and how they should make it. And I'm just like, but you do it, and you just, because I think it does get to that point, you just take a deep breath and just jump, and then you just do it. And that's kind of like anything. Yeah. If you usually 9 times out of 10, you chuck yourself into it, it's going to be okay.
Try your best as well. And don't go in there, like, don't show them that you've got that.
Exactly.
Like you say, once you've made that jump, 100%, that's you. I had like Dean Wynell in here. I don't know if you've seen that one or not, but he was talking a lot about like for me personally, I like, it's all about confidence building and like coming in here with the right energy and stuff. And he was like, you should be telling people, like, when people ask what you do, tell them you're a fucking podcaster, like, and your job's your side hustle. Don't do it the other way around.
Don't downplay it. Big yourself up 100%.
Yeah, and like, I know I'm not. It's not cocky. It's confidence in it, and that's what you need, like, to be successful with it. Yeah, you have
to have, whether it's silent confidence or outspoken confidence, you have to have confidence, because if you don't have confidence, then it's so hard for you to achieve what you want to achieve, because you're just going to have a stumbling block.
People can feel it as well, like
100%.
Like, and now talking to you is the same with like James Falconer and Lewis Welsh about opening his gym, and you can feel the passion of someone when they're doing something they really love and they actually want to do. Yeah. Like, when I speak to people like who are in a job they hate, and you're like, oh, what's happening, mate? You good? Yeah, mate. Yeah. So I was work going, like, oh yeah, it's all right. Like, and you just like, fuck, like, I just try and live your life in it. Like,
you can tell that they're not happy. And I think, and to be fair, people probably would have, I know for a fact my ex-colleagues could sense it, because all I was talking about was the beer box. Yeah. It was all to do, I want to do this and I want to do that. And, I'm going to try and get it to where it needs to be, and then I can go. And I was open about wanting to go, but it was just so sudden how it all come about. Like, literally watched the podcast, handed my notice in. It was, I enjoyed the fact that it all unfolded that way. I was glad. And I think it didn't help because the week before, because this was pretty much like right at the beginning of COVID, when only like 3 people in Wales had been like diagnosed. And there was a police officer in the police station I was working from who tested positive. So I had to isolate because I was in his office. But it was before isolating had any kind of structure. No one knew what was going on. So I went upstairs and my family stayed downstairs. And that was for a week. So I literally didn't leave the room other than to go to the bathroom. So, and like, they had the downstairs, I wasn't allowed to go there in case I gave them anything. Because it was like, you weren't sure how it was going to unfold if people like instantly dropped dead. I know it wasn't quite like that, but...
Oh, mate, at the start,
it was scary, wasn't it?
Everyone was like, I don't know about you, but we were getting like a Tesco shop delivered or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
shops.
Wiping shit down.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Whereas now it's like, oh, fucking hell. I look back and I'm like, oh my God. Like,
but it's the media, isn't it? It's literally, the media can get you to literally, and because we're all like ants with the media, because they put, this is me, I think so deeply about stuff as well, but they put like information out there wanting you to be a bit cautious, or because that kind of information, the negative information, goes into your brain, I think, much quicker than any positive information, because it's fear. Yeah. It's fear and it's the unknown. So the minute that information starts going into your head, you just instantly remember that. You're not going to remember, and they don't really report good news, do they, really?
They don't, no.
Unless it's about the royal family now and again or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't get clicks. And the minute they started going on about, like, they're going about death tolls, that daily it's rising, they don't go on about the fact that, X amount of people have recovered from it. They don't go on about it. It's like 0.0 something % of our kind of age category who aren't suffering. And they also, I find it mad as well when they're reporting deaths. Sorry to go on about COVID, because I know everyone's fed up of it. But they're reporting deaths, but a lot of the time they're not then mentioning that those people have had underlying health conditions.
It's not a true...
They're missing it out.
Reflection of what's happening, is it?
And that's for so many things as well, though, that kind of like the media and anything really is just like, we're told to do this, so we do it. We're told we have to do this, so we do it. It's all linked in. I know it sounds silly, that bloke. I don't necessarily really think that I was a cog on the wheel as such, but we all are in some respect. We're doing what we're told to do.
We are, yeah. It's hard to step outside of that.
Yeah.
And like you said, talking like the fear of like COVID and death tolls and all, it's like you said, fear is easier to take on board. So it's the same with like starting a business.
Yeah.
The second you think about starting a business, you start thinking about how it's going to fail, not about how you're going to do it.
Yeah, so true.
You always feel like, what about this? What about this? Like, you should acknowledge it and know like that's coming up, but it's how you're going to deal with it, not how it's going to fuck you up.
Yeah, that's true. That is. It is. It's all linkable, really. It's funny how it all works, and I just think now to myself, anytime I kind of think like, because I kind of always think, when is it going to end? I'm always waiting for it to end. But the truth is, it may never end. But I think, like we said a couple of minutes ago, is that like if I maybe keep thinking like that, then maybe I'll make sure it never does end, because I'm always waiting for it to. So I want to try and stop it, as opposed to sitting back, getting comfortable, and just kind of allowing it to fizzle out, which is then going to leave me having to maybe go back to a life I wasn't necessarily happy with. But yeah, it's obviously not all plain sailing. I'm learning daily. I'm brand new to this kind of thing. We have like I'm fine to say it. We have done really well from what we've started from nothing. I've had help in terms of time, but I've had no financial help. We've had no bank loans, no business loans, no government funding during COVID. Absolutely zero. So everything that we've generated has just been from pure sales.
It looks really professional as well. I gotta be honest.
That,
you're not like half-assing it. Everything you're doing seems to be, you've got you got the idea in your head and you're putting it out there. You know what I mean? You're not like,
we got a vision. I got a way I want to take it down. My wife, we've both worked in weddings before as well, and like kind of that kind of thing. So she used to be like they call them like wedding event coordinator. So it's basically a wedding planner. She used to be a wedding planner. And I kind of did the whole bar thing with her up there. That was in the Cotswolds. And then we fell pregnant with our daughter. So we come home to be close to the family. And that's kind of where my whole what do I do started, because I just panicked. I wasn't ready to be a dad at all. Anyone who knew me before I was a dad would have never have placed me as a dad at the age of 22, 23, I think I was. I just wasn't ready. But she kind of then, when my daughter came, changed my whole mindset. And then I started exploring things, panicked a bit, signed up to do a PGCE, got told to make sure I finished it, but I quit in the end. It wasn't for me. But everyone told me I shouldn't do that. But that literally, do you know, just ignoring that advice and just going for it and just quitting. And then I got a job straight away, started working, got my house, blah, blah, blah. Ignoring that information is probably the best thing I've ever done, because I then got into the habit of doing what I wanted to do. So from then on, I literally always ask for people's opinions, but I would always back myself ahead.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'll be completely honest, it's no disrespect to any of my family or friends who have advised me, but since I've started doing that is when I've started to achieve what I've wanted to achieve. And that's back down to maybe not always listening to what you're told to do. And
it is the people closest to you are the ones that can maybe guide you out of really what you want to do, because like you said, like they're just scared, innit? And you know, I've had that conversation as well. Like, and we all have it. You know, I come out with an idea, and maybe they're like, "Oh, I don't really get it." Like when I wanted to start this, I don't really get it. Like, don't see where the future is with it. And I'm like, just look around. Like, do you know what I mean? Just look around, it's everywhere. This is the new media. This is what people...
100%.
I don't know about you, but I struggle to sit down some nights and look at shit telly. Like, I want to listen to real people telling their stories. Like,
so my wife, literally, every time she's cooking, has a podcast on. Every time she's in the bath, has a podcast on. I think it's like, what is it? Shag, Marry, Avoid or something like that. I think there's some kind of... There's like a podcast with a Newcastle couple, like Rosie and Chris. Chris and Rosie, basically. But they've got this like podcast, and she is obsessed with it. And that's all she watches. I watch loads of podcasts to do with like sport. So I like anything that Mike Tyson's on, Tyson Fury, any kind of like old school footballers, Ryan Giggs, like Paul Scholes, anything like that. Watch anything just with the podcast, or listen to the podcast, I should say. And it is, you are right, it's a new form of media. So when they're saying to you, where'd you go with it? Like, how are you going to know? You can't predict it.
No, exactly. I'm just going to like keep rolling with it, bring in positive people like yourself. For me, I was like, struggling with like, I wouldn't say like I was bad, do you know what I mean? But I felt like a bit depressed and stuff. And listening to like people have good self-talk and like people like Joe Rogan and stuff, you know, when he's got someone on who's like giving you hints about like people like David Goggins, like go running, do you know what I mean? Just these little things, like little tips. And I was just like, fucking hell, this is like changing my life, just listening to these people who've been through it. And like someone now who's listening to this, listening to you, I'm sure they're going, they've got that idea which they've wanted to try, and this might be the thing that gets them over the line. Like, and
I think like listening to you then as well, like when you instantly like self-denial. So you said that you weren't depressed, but you probably were.
You probably were
depressed. But no, I'm exactly the same, right?
Yeah, you don't like to admit it.
No,
do you?
Hate to admit it. So I've had like, from a personal point of view, I won't go into too much detail, but like ignore COVID. I've had a difficult year. Parents separated. They'll probably hate me bloody saying it if they see this, but like they both separated under not straightforward circumstances. So they went their separate ways. I just had a young son. I don't have any brothers or sisters, so I was trying to like support my mum. She wasn't very well. Ended up, you know, having to kind of just get a bit of help to rehabilitate herself and things like that. So that was difficult to kind of cope with. And then on the back of that, I'm in a job that I hate. I mean, you know, I've got a young child, not sleeping very well, so sleep deprivation is a nightmare. So I think to myself as well, I was probably depressed. But if someone, and Abby, my wife, she kind of mentions it too, but if someone says it to you, it's like, no, don't be silly. It's really old school.
It's a stigma, isn't it? Yeah. Well, exactly, mate. Yeah, to be honest with you, I may as well say it outright. Yeah, I'd say I was depressed. Like, I felt like shit every day. I was waking up and I just, like, didn't want to lift my head off the pillow.
Yeah, I know. And it's
hard
like,
to say, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like you, awkward laughter, right? We're laughing about it. It's not funny because it's hard. It's the fact that you've had to go through that. It's difficult, but it's hard to talk about. And there are so many people of older generations who kind of are just like, no, don't be silly, and they don't understand it. And I get it, because you're brought up without having that put in front of you.
Yeah.
The fact it's talked about now is great. And obviously,
it's
like anything, there's always people who are going to take advantage of systems and they're going to be getting support that they don't necessarily need. But also, there's so many people who aren't getting support, who do go ahead and commit suicide. Like in the last job I was in as well, I've literally been on the phone to people who have rung me saying I'm going to kill myself, and you're silently on another phone calling the emergency services to go straight to the house. But the pressure is crazy.
Fuck, but that was tough.
It's difficult. So there was a couple of things. Another thing, not to be negative, but like the day after my son was born, he got rushed into hospital because he stopped breathing. We were upstairs, first night home. You know, your little boy, you're on a high. Already got a daughter, so kind of got like the perfect fall. And then basically, in the middle of the night, just stopped kind of breathing. Abby, my wife, like just instinctively woke up, and he was kind of like spluttering, and you could see him. So we ran downstairs, called 999 straight away. As we were on the phone, he just went limp, blue, passed out. Then she was instructing us what to say, but I could not tell you that the energy that took from me. Like, it literally just, it took so long to get over. Probably not even spoken about it into detail with my wife either, but it just took so long to get over.
Mate, it's a weird thing, isn't it? Like sorry about that. I'm glad he's alright. You know what I mean? But I can see like how emotional it is for you now, and like, mate, massive.
It's hard. It is. It's
such a weird thing. But I feel like, for me, like I won't go into it too much. But when I was like feeling down, once the thing that was making me feel down was lifted, I couldn't get out of it.
Okay.
Like, is that what you're trying to say? Like, even though you knew he was okay, that feeling lingers.
Yeah, you think about it then, and then you're linked with a negative experience, so you're constantly going back into that zone. But what it did, to bring more of a positive spin on it, and I was just giving an overview basically of how, like, in a way I've got to this point, is what that did also make me think is like, life is so short. COVID then happened. Life is even shorter.
Yeah.
So you need to just start doing what you want to do and what makes you happy. And I possibly, in hindsight, I should have spoken a bit more detail about making a decision to leave my job and consulted, you know, my wife. She's lovely. She's easygoing. I say this as if she's like regimented. She's like, you must do this. She's not at all.
Well, if she's still with you after just leaving your job, mate, she's pretty good, isn't she?
I couldn't do it without her, honestly. Yeah. Like, honestly, I hate being soppy with her publicly, but I honestly couldn't do it without her. And I do think, like, it is so true. There are so many successful men who look like they're the successful people. I'm not saying I'm successful, but I'm getting it. And then they've just got a silent partner, you know, whether it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, who are just there.
The rock, like.
Yeah, and they're just pulling the strings for you, really. And that's what it's like with us, is that I spin in circles. When she's not there, I kind of lose focus. So I'm like, right, what do I do? And rather than just like calming down and just cracking on with it, I just spin. I honestly do a pace, and I'm just like confused, get a bit dizzy. So I like start melting, but then she's there to like give you your focus. And that's kind of like every negative experience that I've gone through this year. Without her, then it would have become a lot more difficult. So I'm lucky in that respect, and it's kind of given me a focus. Maybe like, I know you've got a partner, so maybe like, were you ever able to explain to them? Because that's sometimes some people find.
It took a while though, to be honest, because I was just like going down the hole of like no return. It felt, and I was like, nah, there's no way, nothing's gonna help me. Like, do you know what I mean? That's how I felt at the time. I was like, nothing's gonna help. I don't, and like when people are suggesting like, oh, why don't you try like eating better or like going for a run, or just like these little things, you know, which I think now are massive. Like they're like my like crutches, if you know what I mean. Like if I'm starting to feel low, like I know the things I've got to do, like to make myself feel better.
And exercise is massive, absolutely massive.
Yeah, and you don't like. I trained from like 15 to 21, and then I like in the gym lifting weights and stuff, and then I was just like, I signed up to a triathlon, did that, and then I just never went back to the gym.
Yeah,
and
just
like
enjoyed
months and months
running.
of I just started doing nothing, to be honest.
Oh, okay, sorry, yeah.
And I went for like months and months of doing nothing, and then I just started feeling lower and lower, and I was like, I just couldn't put my finger on it until I realised like something I've been doing for years, which was keeping me happy that I didn't even know. Yeah. Now it's been taken away. Yeah, it's fucking just changed your life.
I get it, like with football, like wasn't able to play for ages, just like with my mates and stuff like that, just because of work commitments. You start playing, get injured, can't play for a year because your hamstring's fallen apart. Yeah. And then you're just thinking to yourself, you feel like a bit empty because it's your release. So it's just that thing where you get to be like a little bit boisterous, have a knockabout, run yourself into the ground, and then go home, and you everything else is so much better. Your environment's so much better because you've had that release. And it might not be from exercise. It could literally be from, I don't know, people reading a book, just having that little kind of moment where you're in your own world and you don't think about anything else other than what's on the next page, or, you know, where's your next pass going to come from in a game of football or any kind of sport. Yeah. So
in the now for a change, isn't it? Rather than like having all this exterior noise going on in your head.
That's the biggest thing. And overthinking, isn't it? That's the problem, is that it is true, because people, it's so funny that something that is so hard to talk about is you need to talk about is the only way to solve it.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
So it's so contradictory, because you cannot really fully recover from it or move past it unless you talk about it. And people just don't ever talk about it. And that's why you see the people who don't talk about it, the people who go to the extreme lengths where they literally remove themselves essentially from the pain that they're in. Yeah. And by no means have I ever been in that kind of position. And even now, like, I'm talking to you, and my subconscious is like, oh, I've probably not even been depressed, but I have been depressed. Yeah. And I think what you could say, maybe 7 out of 10 people have probably been depressed. That's not some kind of.
I would say, like, everyone's getting it at some point in their life.
In different ways, different scales,
yeah. Like, maybe not as intense as, like, you know, wanting to actually do, like, to kill yourself or whatever. It's even hard to say, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It's because it's to me, it's honestly the saddest thing in the world. And like the fact that in my last job that was so, it was almost so normalised that people would say it on a daily basis, and 9 times out of 10 you know that they're not being serious, but there's the one person, and like literally people had tried, so I would see them the 1 week, and then I couldn't see them for another couple of weeks because they were getting better in hospital because they had taken an overdose or because they had done something silly. And it's so hard for people to understand it. And I get that, because like these people have families, and that's the biggest thing. And they're like, oh, how could they do that? They've got a family. Well, they wouldn't be doing it if they were okay, or if they had the support that they needed. So I
always used to think up until like a couple of years ago, the people who do it are just selfish. Like,
me too. Yeah.
But I'm totally the opposite now. If anything, I think they're trying to just end the pain, man.
Like that's what it is. Yeah.
And like trying to take that away from everyone else around them as well. Because like, I know I wasn't nice to be around for a while. Yeah. You know?
And it is, that's the thing, it's most difficult for the people around you.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to really understand. They're trying their best to kind of come up with solutions, but there's nothing they can do, because you need to get yourself out of that rut.
Yeah.
So whether it is going back to the gym, or whether it is literally running around, or finding something which just gives you time to just not think, that's the only way you're going to be able to do it. So
I think as well, like, I don't know if you, I like joined this group on Facebook. I had the boy in here the other day. That's why I joined the group, to be honest. But he's got like loads of positive stuff in it. A tidy butt group, and like there's all groups like that now, which like were never around before, you know. Yeah. And like just having them places for people to go. It can be like anonymous, can't it? You can set up a fake profile if you want and get on there. Like you don't have to like tell them it's you that you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
But
and the Tyson Fury situation was the maddest thing I've seen with mental health, because to me, I'm a bit biased. I'm a big fan, right? But to me, it's the biggest sporting comeback of all time, just because of the fact that he was so unconditioned, physically and mentally. Yeah. And then to come back and do that, and I just think like that literally proves that you can do anything.
Yeah.
To be that level of self-destructing, and to then just come back, become the world champion again, do it in the way he did, and you can see, like, you can literally see that he says as well, like the little documentaries I've watched, that you can see that he's struggling. And he still has episodes, but you can also see that you can visibly see that he feels like powerful. Yeah. Because he's in control of it to some extent, because he's managed to live his life and focus on the things which stop him from getting to that stage. So it's a good, different kind of circumstance, because I know not everyone can, and certain other aspects help, but it's a good way for people to look at the fact that when you can be like that and then drag yourself out the other end,
especially for people who've got the like manly man stigma of like, I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
When the world heavyweight champion in boxing can talk about it, and he can say, I've got issues.
And
like,
no one's going to tell him to shut up.
Exactly.
And stop talking about it, so. And it's like, I know on your podcast, there's been like a number of times like mental health's been referenced to, not just like the tidy butt guy.
Mate, everyone's feeling it.
It's pretty much, and everyone's like made some kind of assessment, or they've had an opinion on it. And I know like with James, you know, like you can imagine what he was going through before he started his clothing line, and the story for that was great. So it's it's mad, but it's something that needs to be talked about. Definitely. Especially now. It's like everyone's gone about COVID, and it's so true. Like you are going to end up losing so much more people to mental health issues than probably the virus.
I think so as well.
And long term, there's going to be effects because you've had youngsters who are kind of being brought up in a, like you imagine these kind of like lonely teenagers, which are always difficult years, vulnerable years, who the only time when the world was normal, they were surrounded by someone who could possibly, you know, help them, and they haven't been able to see them for X amount of time. So the effect is having on them as well. So
yeah, like, because when I was younger, I wouldn't have wanted to talk to my parents about that sort of things. Like you said, they need their friendship group, don't they?
Yeah.
That's not necessarily always the best, but
no,
some of the people like, but yeah, definitely they need people to talk to. And I like kind of way they kind of understand it, I suppose. Well, maybe they don't, but you know, like when you're walking around town, like I know if you're saying okay to me and you're happy because of your smile on your face, like in your face, like the bottom half of your face is like so important. It's like a signal to know what like reaction someone's giving you. So now like people are growing up in a world where like it's a fucking job to tell. Do you know what I mean? With the masks and stuff. Like I know like why they're there and everything, but I also feel like it's such a social divide, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. It's become. It's just so bizarre. And like you always see Twitter's like the kind of worst thing for reading debates, because it does make you kind of question your own opinions sometimes. But obviously, sorry, bloody water. Obviously, in previous years and kind of like our ancestors and our great grandparents and things like that, they've obviously gone through way more difficult times with, you know, world wars and things like that. And obviously they had to, for example, the people in the cities and stuff had to not turn the lights on because they would be exposed and things like that. And then you get these people who are literally refusing to wear masks. I don't get that, because it's just is everyone coming together, which it should happen. But that's not to say it's not a difficult time, because we are more free now than we ever have been. And then that just gets taken away from you.
We're living in history. Like,
right
now, it's going to be like written in the history
books. And that's true. Like you think about it in schools and stuff like that, you're going to literally have lessons on the pandemic. It's going to, like, a question's going to be how many people died during the pandemic, or how, you know, which area was affected the most. It's going to be, and then Donald Trump and things like that. It's all part of it.
It's so documented as well. Like, whereas maybe some of the ones years gone by weren't so documented. No, exactly. This is mental.
And it is just like you do see Twitter's great though. Like it's just a different world.
It's so opposite side. Like you just see some crazy stuff.
That's like Twitter. I've kept away from my business. I had like a little dabble with it, but I just enjoy Twitter. I just like reading the opinions, and like some of the, you get so many like philosophical people. Yeah. So I learn so much on Twitter. It's mad. Like, this is what I mean. Like, people complain about social media. You can educate yourself so much.
It's all about who you follow to a degree, innit? Like, you can fill your newsfeed full of trash, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. You can either do it trash, or you can also get a lot of positive influences. Yeah. So I like to have a bit of both. So I do like to read absolute bollocks, but I also like to then read the inspirational kind of stories, and like just anyone who like achieves anything really from very little. I always like the stories about people who have come from nothing. Like, I think the whole Marcus Rashford thing at the minute is a great example. Yeah. Like, not only has he come from a council estate in Manchester, become a professional footballer, that's not enough for him. So he tries to change the whole way the country looks at feeding the poor, which is
I think so as well. Mate, when I first seen that, I was just like, what the fuck's going on in this world? Yeah. Like I don't even know. Like, I don't know, obviously, like the whole terms of the agreement or whatever. But it's like, how could you say no to that? I don't get how you can say no to that.
They're in a different world, aren't they? And it's not to make it, I'm not meaning to talk about politics and things like that, but 9 times out of 10, and I'm not saying I'm right, 9 times out of 10, they're from private education, they got wealthy parents, they would never even be able to understand what these people have to go through. So for them to then be the ones who make the decisions about it is just absolutely baffling to me. Like, how can they be the ones who decide whether a
Should go to a vote, like, shouldn't it?
It should, and it would be astronomical. Like, everyone would vote in favour of it, because if you don't, like, what are you thinking? And then they say, oh yeah, but the parents are, they're buying cigarettes, they're buying this. That's not the kid's fault. Feed the kid. If the kid's not being fed, the kid's not going to be educated properly, because they're not going to be concentrating enough. They're going to more likely turn to crime because of the fact that they're going to be searching for me. They could be that hungry that they start stealing.
They will, won't they?
It's a different world, and then the fact that you have people who are so privileged making those decisions.
And the chances are, like, the people who aren't feeding their kids because they're buying cigarettes aren't telling their kids not to go out and steal, like, are they? So they're like raising, like, it's just a like constant cycle.
Yeah, literally.
It needs to be intervened.
Yeah.
And like, something more permanent needs to be.
And that's why I'm so glad that you've had an external figure, a man of the people, if you like, right? This is what he's essentially become, because I find it mad that I'm so in awe of a 22-year-old bloke.
Yeah.
And I'm 27. He's 22 years old, and he's literally just doing things which our government should have been doing years ago. But it also does show, and like maybe back to the cog on the wheel kind of conversation, it does show that what people can actually do.
Yeah.
Like, and what they can achieve even without the government's approval, and to some extent, the powers that be, you can still achieve so much for the country, and that's such a big message to send out to anyone really who's just wanted to try and make a difference. That if you persevere, granted, obviously it helps. He plays for Manchester United. He's got millions of following, so it's going to put pressure on the government. But he still achieved it.
Yeah, but how many of them people aren't doing that, innit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they all jumped on, like, they have no option, would they?
And there's so many, there's so many other issues than just not feeding children. That is a priority, and it should be one of the priorities. Of course it should. But there's so many other issues, like racism, things like that, is still all prominent. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
I know, like, from 13 to, like, 21, I think, like, for me at that point, I could have gone anywhere. Yeah. And like, we're lucky around here where there's not actually that many bad ways you can go. Yeah. But I know, like, if I was in a city or something, you're like brought up watching like adulthood and kidulthood on the telly and all, and like
go replicate it.
Yeah, it becomes like, you're like, I don't know, you get like an ideological. I understand what you're saying. You look at it and you think it's like attractive, don't you? And you listen to like rap and you think like,
because you know nothing else, and it's like it's the only bit of excitement you can get for that day is to maybe go and like do what they've just done. But whereas what you've just watched is literally like someone stabbed someone. Yeah. So I know it's not as.
I'm not saying
it doesn't work that quickly, but
you can see how it happens. Like, and I think there should be so much help for them people. Like, it's just crazy, man. Like the world's nuts. Yeah, no, it is.
It's just. I just find it so mad when, like, a group of people in a room, because that's all they are, is a group of people in a room. They literally make decisions that then millions of people will follow. And it's not always the right decision at all. And I know you have to have people govern certain areas, and you've got to have people make decisions, because otherwise it's just a free-for-all. But at the same time, they've got to start getting more people in who are from a different background. They need to get some of those starving kids who have grown up and become adults. They need to be the ones who are making the decisions for those kids, because they're going to know what's best.
It's their environment, like, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the environment. Like, I don't know if you've seen, I think I heard it on the Rogan the other day, actually, but it was like, they were talking about like a rat experiment they did where they put like a rat in a cage. Yeah. Like one, I think he had like water and then one with like drugs in it. And he kept going back and forth to the drugs. Okay, so they were like, so rats are like humans, do you know what I mean? You give them drugs and they get addicted. And then like years later, they went and did a study where they had like the rat in the cage with the drugs, and they had the rat like out in the open, like rat fucking paradise, do you know what I mean? And he had the option of drugs and water, and he tried the drugs like recreationally sort of thing. But then like he stopped, because he was like, I'm in paradise. I don't need the drugs, do you know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of human studies related with like rats and stuff in there. So
psychology, isn't it? So
so like a lot of it's like environment, and like bring that back to us, if they were maybe in a better environment, I say they had food and everything like that, maybe they would never turn to like a crutch. Isn't it? Yeah.
No, that's a great example, that is, because it is. And I didn't mean to talk about politics and things like that, but it's just all linked. Like everything to some extent is linked, because it's all to do with just decision making. So the fact that you can go from, whether it is me, for example, being that person who decides to maybe ignore everyone's views, maybe ignore the pressure of being a father and just go for what I want to do because I think it will work.
Yeah.
Or whether it is literally making a decision where you think, oh no, actually, like someone like Rashford did, or anything like that, where you think, no, actually that's not right, and you then stand up for what you believe in. So it's all relatable in terms of, by no means am I comparing feeding starving children to selling cocktail boxes, by the way. But I'm just on about the whole process behind it, is that decisions are there to be made, and unless you're willing to stand up and do it, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny how it all works, and it's funny how it all...
You can stay in your rut for years, can't you? You can like live in that forever. And look back at the end of your life and think like, fuck, I never ticked anything I wanted to do off the list.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it, and that's a massive part of why... That was my logic behind it. I spoke to someone, one of my friend's sisters. She's got a lovely little company that does, she like paints leather jackets, mermaid effect, I think it's called Plug. And she basically, I asked her advice, because I think it's important to get advice from people who've done it. So yeah, she didn't have children, or that to kind of take into consideration. I think she actually said that to me, but she did still do it. She still left a stable job, and took that risk. And I think what she said is basically no one will die. So, which is true, because no one's going to die from you just leaving your job. Like I said, it is going to be difficult to get another job straight away in a pandemic. But there's going to be something. If you're willing to go and work, there's going to be work that you can do.
I think so, yeah.
If it all goes to shit. So, yeah, I think the fact that I at least have done it, no matter what happens, I'll never regret this decision.
Yeah.
And
even if it's not this time, though, even if you've got to do it again in the future.
Yeah, like, and you do see it, don't you? You see all the time about like people who have failed at one idea, but then they've gone back to another idea, and then the idea they never even wanted to really try is the one that's gone bang. Yeah. So, and in a way we've done it, we're just doing it collectively. Like we do weddings and events, we take our horse boxes to weddings and events, and we pitch up, and we become part of the whole feature.
Yeah.
But now we're also selling cocktail boxes. I've just started adding like local beer onto our order lists as well. So there's so many things now that we're adding. Yeah. Which I never thought we would do 6 months ago. Like just before the pandemic had happened. I never even thought about kind of bringing cocktails into our business. We were actually going to go down like the whole gin and tonic route, and then I seen something that another company was doing. I reached out to them because I like to be open about that. I don't want to take anyone's kind of ideas. I like to just approach them respectfully and go down that route. So I just said, I think this is a great idea. Asked a few more questions. They were really encouraging. We're friends now as well. Talked to them about it, which is nice. And we went down a different route. So we did something similar, but we went down a completely whole kind of, unique way, if you like. So yeah, it's just, yeah. I find it mad, really, that it's happened, but it has. So
mate, it's wicked. Like I said before, it looks professional, and I think, like you were saying earlier, following your gut, not what everyone else is thinking. Yeah, that's what's going to make it grow, isn't it? Yeah,
it's big. And if you don't do that, then, like I said, you don't know. And it's funny because when you talk about this kind of topic, there's so many cliches. So like the fact that you only live once. Yes, of course you only live once, but it's so true. You do only live once. So why are you going to live your life doing what people think you should do when they're carrying on? This is what it is. You're watching them do what they want to do, but you're worried about, what they think you're going to do. And it's just like, it's crazy. And it is. And like, I know for a fact that when I told my friends, I know for a fact they didn't think I was going to, I don't think they thought I was going to sell 700 to 800 boxes as quickly as I have done. And they were kind of doing the whole like, oh, okay, Ben. Do you know what I mean? Because I've come up with ideas before, and sometimes it just like within seconds has just like not materialized. But you kind of, I think that's a trait in itself, is that you just don't really care. Yeah. Like you don't really care what they think you're telling them, because I tell people things, and I tell people about like who are close to me about what we've been doing, because it helps me get motivated.
Yeah, definitely. You got to, and you probably got a group of people you trust with that as well.
Yeah. But like a lot of the time, I know they're just thinking, "Oh God, here's another like
he's off again."
Yeah, he's off again. And like I know for a fact, like I'll go home tonight, I'll start working straight away. Immediately, I'll start working. I'll start sorting our orders out. Obviously it's Christmas is a mad busy time for any gifting service, especially locally, because I think people are supporting local more than ever. And my wife will just be like, why? Like, can you just not have time off? She's already, like, limiting my orders on Christmas Eve because she wants me to get back for the family. And obviously that makes sense. But in my head, I'm so like, no, I need to do this, I need to do that.
It needs to work. Like,
but I'm trying to get into the habit now of, like, actually listening to other people. I'm thinking, oh, actually, like, even though we've got so much momentum, I need to just rein it in, because sometimes you hit a wall and, like, it's like a different feeling to when I felt depressed, like we were saying, but it's like exhaustion.
Yeah.
So you can't physically, like the thought of, even though I love this and I genuinely love it, like the thought of just doing it is sometimes so hard because you've just pushed yourself and pushed yourself. Doing 500 miles, you know, in 2 days is every single week. I know there's lorry drivers, right? Don't have a, like, laugh at me. I know there's like lorry drivers, delivery drivers who do this all the time, but they're not making the products, like you said earlier. But you're right.
Doing both, like,
you're not selling the products. You're not organising, you know, the funding,
phone calls, the
messages. Stock, messages. It's literally like every single thing, and it's great that I'm in the position where I'm able to, like, I know for a fact that my phone's dead. I'll go back into the van, and when it charges 8 hours later, I'll open it up, and I know for a fact we'll have messages, we'll have orders just from being here now in the hour, which is great. And I never thought it would have been like that. And this week in particular, whereas and I hate doing it, but it's like, it's how you have to sell. Like, we use social media a lot, so sometimes you're putting stuff, and even then I'm thinking, oh, people are going to get fed up. But it's your livelihood. Yeah, so you have to do it.
I know, yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, but like, and a lot of people who like might watch this will think about it. But there was a time just before the pandemic, I think like you even did it, where local businesses were asking people to like their page by sharing it with their friends and things like that. And people were like leaving so many like negative like comments and being like, oh, why are you doing this, filling up my page? Think about what's just happened. How grateful are local businesses, including myself, that so many people did go out with their way to share it, so that now when people have continued to try and earn money during this hard time, they've been able to, you know, have so many different customers.
Me and my brother were having this conversation the other day, and we were like, instead of like putting people down around us and like telling them their ideas shit, or like, oh, I'm not sharing that, do you know what I mean? Because they're worried, like, oh, I'm not sharing, like, Joe's podcast might make me look like a bit of a dick, like, if I'm seen to be mates with him, do you know what I mean? Because he's doing this weird thing, like, which I don't understand.
Which isn't even weird. It's just, it's not weird. It's just it's out of their comfort zone. So.
Exactly, mate. And he was like, I was about, like, we build, like, a bit of a community where we're all, like, positive about everything. And imagine how much further we're going to get. Like, if I'm like, oh, yeah, you should check Ben shit out, it's really cool. Like, they're like, oh, I don't really get that. Like, well, this is how it is. It's great. He's doing really well. Like, oh, like, it's good deals. Like, he's selling great products.
Even your own friends, like, they'll just scroll past your stuff and they won't engage. And it's like, I don't get it, because when they're doing that, there's the whole analytics side behind it. So, like, and this is good to know, if any of your friends have, like, any businesses and things like that, just liking and commenting, the more people that do it, and I know you get, like, these people who have, like, thousands of likes, so they can post a picture of a door and they'd get, like, 1,000, 2,000 likes on it. But when it's your small businesses, the more people who are engaging with your post, the more that's going to come up to the front of someone's page, or they're going to be
more news feeds.
It goes in more. The reach is a lot bigger. But there'll be even my own friends, they'll just scroll past it, and I'm like thinking to myself, come on, just like, it's not going to kill you just to help out a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like, and it was funny because obviously I've sold stuff to my friends, mates rates and all that, but in terms of our actual custom, the reason I'm kind of happy with how we're doing as well is I've not really sold to my friends that much. I've met, all of it has been like strangers pretty much, people I've never even met. And I remember like my mother-in-law right at the very beginning, when I thought that this wasn't going to work, she like bought 4 boxes to give to her staff as like a thank you, which was just her supporting me really. And then I was thinking it's probably the biggest order I'm ever going to get. And then like months down the line, I've had like single, you know, households who have bought like 15 boxes from me. And it's all gone to like, that's cool, and I've gone back and forth. We've got regular customers. Even like we did like a little subscription service. We've had people who have gone constantly month after month. I've just been going to their house, delivering. They then give the jars back because we try and make it all like eco-friendly and stuff. It's just like a nice little, like, you get like your postman, your milkman, and your cocktail man. Yeah. So it's what it's become.
Build like you said with your mates and stuff. Like, they should like be backing you, just putting a like on it, because they don't necessarily have to buy off you. But their may lead to it going 10 other people's news feeds, and maybe 2 of them will. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they don't even realise. They may not even realise. You know? No, they probably don't. And like, you literally then, though, you'll get, one of my mate's mums has been great. She's, I'm not going to embarrass my mate and just say who it is, but she like engages with so many things. I've had so many recommendations because of her telling people about it. And they're like, I'm not her son, but the love that I've had from and the support has just been class. And it's like, it's stuff that you don't even
I think when you're younger, you don't appreciate things like that. But then as you get a little bit older, you start to, and you see that people are investing their time in you when there's absolutely no need whatsoever. You're just like, oh, that's just so nice that you're actually going out of your way to do that. So
yeah, and I think like people, if they see this and hear you talking about it, I think that's going to attract them to want to buy more anyway, because it's just like such a positive message you're trying to share as well. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly. And I think it's just like, I know we went off tangent for quite a long time. It's just I felt like I was in a pub really. I was waiting for you to throw me some peanuts, but I think it's that kind of thing where it's just all linked to how you got here now. And I think like there's so much things, and by no means is any kind of adversity or any negative thing I've gone through like bad in comparison to so many people. I've just had a relatively difficult year with like a couple of not nice moments. But to be honest, if I didn't have that happen this year, I probably wouldn't have the, excuse my language, like fuck it mentality, where I just like, fuck it, I'll go for it, I'll give it a go. I probably still would have been a bit like, oh, I don't know if I should do that, I don't know if I should do this. So
you need to have hard things to be able to overcome more hard things
and like, change your mindset. So it's all interesting, it's all relevant, and it's all links into how you kind of end up. I know it sounds stupid, it's like what's that film where like every decision you make like kind of dictates now. Like I can't think of it. I can't think of the film now. But anyway, it's like that kind of thing where you end up here because of a small decision, taking a left or a right, something like that. It all
Back to the Future or something like
they do that. That's my wife's favourite film, that is. But yeah, it's that kind of thing. And yeah, one day, like I said, you're in a courtroom and you're listening to a judge read the verdict of someone who's going to be going to prison for the rest of their life because of something they've done which has affected someone you're trying to help. And the next thing you know, I'll change the cocktail, so you do an espresso martini, something like that. So it's just crazy. It's
class though, mate.
It is.
It's class. I just think just keep ploughing on now and adapt as you go. And like you're only going to grow, mate. And
that's what it is. It's just, that's the right thing to say, is like, just got to adapt. And I think the new challenge now will be, once the world, vaccine, etc., goes back to normal, what we're going to do then? Because we're not going to be as busy. I know that. I know for a fact, because even though we're out of lockdown in Wales, people are still reluctant to go out, because it's still very present. So it's going to be about how we adapt and how we maintain it. And even though, like I said, we're doing a national delivery service now, I've already started to get orders. We've got orders in Essex. I've even had inquiries from Scotland today, from a little company, which is cool. But the local side to me is where I see it as the sustainable side of it. I want to start trying to reach out to as many people as possible. I want them to enjoy our products and what we're doing. But more than anything, I just want to continue to have, I could be making a ridiculous amount of money and I would still deliver them myself. And people would think like, no, you wouldn't. But I can guarantee you, because what's the point of doing it then? That's what I enjoy. Yeah. So it's pointless me just sitting there getting someone else to do it when the reason I enjoy it is because I'm there.
Be boots on the ground, taking it
from A to B. Here's what we've made for you. Enjoy. Thank you for your order. It's literally it's as simple as that. So
seeing each step, even if like you said, you got big enough where you could employ someone to maybe send all the orders out, and you could still go out in the van. Couldn't you? Do you know what I mean?
And like, I'm not exaggerating. Like over Halloween, I wish we had staff. Like I cannot tell you how much I wish we had staff.
Bet it was carnage.
Yeah, Christmas is going to be the same, and like we're doing it from I got my own little premises license, and we're literally like building them in our Horsebox bar. I'm about to get a shed now because we need a bit more room for storage because it's just getting a bit cramped in here from doing it all. But yeah, that's literally we then ship it out, and it goes from the horse box into my van, and then into my van onto the road, and we just go. And it's just mad. Like, we'll literally just be sat there in the living room and we'll be like, oh, should we come up with this little menu? Do like a little bit of research, look at like what we need to include, and then all of a sudden it's brought to life, put it on the internet, and then in 5 minutes you start selling it. It's
mad, isn't it?
It is.
It's cool, though, isn't it? It's creative as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. And it's something I never thought I'd be doing. Yeah. And I think that's like a good thing. Like, if not to be some kind of like guru, but if I am going to leave, doing this tonight with a little message, is that it literally does not matter if you don't know what you want to do. Yeah. Because you'll just fall on something 9 times out of 10, especially if you're open-minded. So especially if you're willing to accept that there is no rush to achieve anything, really. You can do it at your different pace. Like, you probably never thought, I know you said you wanted to do it a couple of years ago, but you probably never thought that you would be doing it on a regular basis to the point where you've now had like 10 guests or something like that. So
I think you're the 18th.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, when me and Lou were talking, I was like, oh yeah, maybe one every couple of weeks or something. It's turned into like one a week or 2 a week.
Yeah.
The 1 week we did like 3.
Yeah.
We just trickled them out, sort of thing. Fuck, I keep hitting this. But yeah, like you said, mate, I just think I was like, oh, where are the guests going to come from? Like, people aren't going to want to come and do it. Do you know what I mean? But I think, as things go forward, like yourself and it, we talked, and I feel like everyone's got a story. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's like got something to bring to the table. Like, it doesn't matter where you are on the journey. Like,
spot on.
You're definitely somewhere that's someone else is as well. So they need to hear where you're at, like, innit?
Yeah, and you're also probably in a similar situation to someone who doesn't even realise it.
Yeah.
So if they can then see that you're able to actually, step outside your comfort zone, because that's all it is to do with is comfort zones. And people do get comfortable, and that's where then people get miserable. I think that's where people get depressed, is because they're not experiencing life.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying by any means me putting 6 cocktails and all the ingredients in a cocktail box is me experiencing life, but it is me experiencing a little bit of freedom where, like you said, I look after my kids in the week as well, like when my wife's at work, so that's hard in itself, but I'm also incredibly lucky that I'm there to do it. Whereas if I had my, old 9-to-5 job, I don't see them 5 days a week, 9 to 5. This way, I pick my daughter up from school every day. My son's about to start nursery on Monday, so I'll be picking him up every day, and I'm lucky as a male.
Them things are huge, aren't they?
To get to do it. So, because usually it is obviously the mums who take that kind of set, if you like. So the fact that I'm like a bit of a stay-at-home dad in between working, and they've come on, like my little boys come on deliveries with me. So sometimes when I do like a couple of midweek deliveries, he'll come with me. Yeah. And it's just something
you're not taking him to the house where the brick was through the window,
no,
like you.
No, you won't be going there, just chucking a panic on, I'm quick, get out. But no, it's worked. Yeah. It's worked, and I'm happy that I took that risk. And like I said, if I didn't take that risk, then I'd probably just still be miserable, still be wondering what I'm
glad you're doing it, mate. It's all about following dreams.
I appreciate that.
But, I think we'll. I don't know. Do you want to say where people can find you? Like,
So you can find us on Facebook or Instagram. We're called the Beer Box Company, and we also have a website which is www.thebeerboxcompany.co.uk, and you can find out all of our services and our little online shops on there as well. So.
Nice one, mate. Yeah, check it out, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Cheers. No problem at all. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.